What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Crew 2, and in this video I'm going to take a look at the Porsche Cayenne Turbo GT. This is going to be one of two cars available in the recent Porsche Bundle. The other car is going to be the Panamera Turbo S Sport Turismo. Stay tuned for this car as well tomorrow, guys. I really do enjoy driving these, and they're both obviously going to be in the street category, but nonetheless, guys, both cars are also going to have customization. I would probably say a lot of players are going to love this, but there is also a lot of colors. I did notice this car does have a lot of colors that are available for it. If you guys are wondering though, the color I am running is going to be right here. I really do feel like that brightish red orangish color with those bronze rims, and also the yellow calipers look absolutely insane. I'm most likely going to leave my car looking just like this, but there is going to be customization. Moving over to this right now, guys, there's going to be 5 hoods, and there's also going to be loads of other things you can do to this car as well. So jumping right into this, guys, the first one's going to be a carbon fiber hood, which I personally wouldn't put this on the vehicle, but I do think it actually looks pretty nice on there. I most likely wouldn't run that hood on this vehicle, but I guess it does kind of depend on which setup you guys are going for. But moving over to the front bumpers now, there's going to be 7 of these, and I did actually find one of these I do like when going through these, so I'm going to pick this one. It does make like the side pieces carbon fiber and or like that part of the small splitter. I really do think that honestly looks insanely nice on there, but and then moving over to the next bumper is going to black out the headlights as well, which I'm not really a huge fan of that though. I do think on certain vehicles it does honestly look pretty cool, but I guess it really is selective on which setup you guys actually want to go for. Moving over to the next thing though is going to be the fender, so you do have like the plastic black ones on there. Then you can also paint them around the car as well, which my goodness, that looks really good. I'm also kind of torn if I do want the black plastic pieces on this thing, but then you actually do get a wide body kit. This thing is actually looking just like the Astron Custom from GTA. I really do love how close the cars actually look on that game, but you can also have the painted and or the carbon fiber one on the side as well. And it does look like, guys, for the most part, the fitment is going to actually look nice on this car, and it's not going to look like that one McLaren from that update. My goodness, that was terrible. But moving over to the next thing is going to be the rims. So for this, I have the bronze ones. Then we're going to have blue, which was kind of surprising. I don't know if I've actually seen a Porsche with these colored rims before. But at the same time, though, it instantly makes me think about the Cayman GT4 RS, so that's probably going to be a similar color to it. But moving over to the next thing, guys, is obviously the caliper color, which for me, I'm going to leave these yellow because it does fit the rim and or the color of the car pretty nicely. But moving over to the next thing is going to be the mirrors, which currently are carbon fiber. Then we're going to have the painted ones. And then moving over to the side skirts here, so for this I have the regular ones, which I was going to change this to carbon fiber, but I'm most likely going to leave this regular, only because it does fit like the side of the car pretty nicely. Plus we have this other skirt. It does sit out a bit on the side of the car, but it's not that bad though. I feel like with a wide body kit, I feel like it actually would fit it. But moving over to the next thing though is going to be the rear fender, so there's the painted one. Then we'll have the carbon fiber. Then we'll have the wide body, which the fitment does look nice on here. I have to mention that because my goodness, some of these really do look pretty terrible for that matter. But if you guys are into a wide body Porsche Cayenne, this can definitely look pretty awesome. And then moving over to the rear wing. So for this one, guys, I actually left the stock one on this as well. You can also get the painted ones, which doesn't really look all that great. Then we're going to have the carbon fiber, which I do like how that one looks though. And then we're also going to have this wing as well, which it looks like it does go over to the other side. But luckily it's going to be split in the middle on the side there because this thing actually does raise. So I do like that attention to detail with the wings as well. But moving over to the bumpers now. So I'm most likely going to leave this one stock as well, mainly because I like how it looks. But my goodness, I love the customization on this Porsche so far. Like, it looks so dang good. And I really do think a lot of players are going to be experimenting with this car pretty often. Of course, when racing it, though, this thing is obviously going to be an SUV. So I will jump into that here in a second. Moving over to the interior though, so for this one I actually decided to go with yellow and then go all the way over to the right here to have like the yellow stitching. And obviously I think that's going to be Alcantara there for that. But moving over to this though, I'm also aiming for carbon fiber, but we also have wood and or like that nice black, I guess, finish type of tile and or something, whatever that might actually be. But I'm going to go with carbon. That will basically do it for the interior. For some reason, I really do love the way the yellow stitching does look on this thing. And it's also going to match like the yellow caliper colors as well. But overall, guys, I do think a lot of players are going to really like this Porsche Cayenne. For one, it's going to have a lot of customization with it, so it really is going to be a favorite. But let's go do an outside look of this car right now, and also take this thing on a quick top speed test. So moving over to the outside view of the Turbo GT, the first thing I honestly noticed about this car is going to be the color that I did choose. My goodness, it really is going to be insanely bright in the sunlight, plus those bronze rims look so dang good. But overall, guys, I do think a lot of players are going to love this car. This is also a 2022, so it's basically going to be brand new, and I really will never get mad at a new Porsche. I would like to know in the comments, by the way, guys, which German manufacturer is going to be your favorite and why. I really do feel like each one is going to have their positives and or negatives. Is that a donkey back there? But nonetheless, guys, let's take a listen to that engine. And then moving over to the interior view of this Porsche, guys, I do like the overall detail of this thing. You can also see like the detail of the Alcantara, at least I think that's what it's going to be. Then you can also see the carbon fiber on the dash as well, so it definitely does look pretty nice. And one thing I did notice about the dash as well, guys, is it does work with the RPM. And you can also see your speed digitally as well, but it's going to be slightly hard to see because it's kind of like blurry and or tiny. And then the one on the right I do believe is going to be like a G-force meter or something like that. Then you will also see your gas tank as well, which is kind of cool. So I have 473 kilometers. The one on the left is also going to be like the outside temperature, which I highly doubt it's going to be 12 degrees Celsius in Florida, but who actually knows? But regardless, guys, the detail of this Porsche is honestly pretty awesome, and it does look pretty dang nice inside this thing. But besides all that, let's go see what the top speed of this Turbo GT is actually going to be. So one thing I noticed right off the bat is going to be the engine sound on this car. This thing honestly does sound insane. You can hear like the pops and bangs of that exhaust. And my goodness, truck, will you please use a turn signal? Moving over though, guys, this thing is going to have 7 gears. It also does redline at around 6,500. So if you guys are running manual, do keep in mind you will have to shift this car pretty often. But right now with a nitro chem is set, we get to around 249 to 250 miles per hour. So right away, guys, this car is going to be slightly faster than many street cars. And it honestly does feel pretty dang cool with this thing being an SUV. It kind of gives me hope that we might see the Trackhawk and maybe Motorfest. Overall, guys, I have to admit though, I do find the Turbo GT to be insanely fun to race around, and I really do think the sound of this engine is going to be many players' favorite. So the Cayenne Turbo GT is going to be one of the rare SUVs in the Crew 2 that are actually going to be insanely good. I really do feel like a lot of players after running this SUV for a bit are most likely going to want that Trackhawk to come into the game, which if I had to guess I would say it's most likely going to show up in Motorfest, at least it should anyway. And driving something like the Turbo GT really does make me like this thing a lot though. I do like the way this car does handle, guys. Do keep in mind it is obviously not going to be a car though. And one thing I did find funny about the Turbo GT is the first turn I actually went around with this thing, I basically was like, yep, this thing is not going to be like the GT3 RS and or something like the 4S Carrera. It really does feel a lot different. Now, I wouldn't say it's going to feel different in like a negative way. In fact, I actually kind of like the way this car does feel when racing down the road though. It really does feel planted, plus when you do fly around corners, you actually do grip tremendously. And for this thing being an SUV, it really is insane how good it actually grips. We all know the driving physics on the Crew 2 are probably not going to be the greatest thing out there, but even with that though guys, I'm still having a great time with the Turbo GT. I really can't wait to see how they're going to change the handling around in Motorfest. I really do feel like it's going to be a great improvement over the Crew 2. Even though I wouldn't say this game is going to have awful physics, it can obviously be a bit better. And even with all that being kind of wonky, I still feel like a lot of players are going to enjoy this Cayenne. For example guys, yes it does do around 250. It also does seem to accelerate pretty dang fast as well, but if you guys are running manual, by the way, I did mention you will have to shift this car pretty often. I was noticing when starting off in races as well that you will basically redline immediately, at least between 1 and 3 gears anyway, but after that you're basically good to go. And I do like the way the transmission on this car does work, even though it does redline pretty dang fast though. I do feel like in some ways it's going to be slightly better to actually get up to speed a bit better, and you can also find yourself getting a lot more speed out of corners as well. So overall, you really cannot go wrong with the Turbo GT, even though this is going to be one of very few SUVs, especially doing great in the street car category because I don't know of many. And seeing more of these style of vehicles in the Crew, I do think would honestly be pretty awesome. Maybe seeing something like a BMW X5 and or like a Durango Hellcat, I really do think would be pretty insane to see in this game, but who knows, maybe in Motorfest we might. I would like to know what you guys think about this Cayenne Turbo GT in the comments below.